Executing during a busy season is not about distributing your time equally across all projects. It's about intentional focus. And before we go to focus, we'll start with clarity. You must intentionally filter out distractions, look through and decide what is important, what are the essential tasks, because you have limited time, limited brain power. It's important to zero in on the focus, and that's why this clarifying exercise is super important. The next one, define your MVO, or you can also call it MPO, your minimum possible output. Now you're very busy. Granted, you're being dragged in work by your peers and your superiors. You're being dragged at home by your family responsibilities. Your relationships are calling for your attention, and there are other projects you are engaged in. In project management, this framework is called the work breakdown structure. What it looks like for you is you take this project. In your former exercise where you clarified what you want to do, maybe in that same time, you look at this project and you deconstruct it, you break it down, you sectionalize it. What are the little bits of work that contribute to the output I'm seeking for? I must also mention that it's important that you know what the low value tasks are. So the low value work is not what you want to focus on. You want to focus your energy on that 20% that gives you your 80. You know the Pareto principle, right? Now we talk about the third point. Remember where we started from? We said you start with clarity. Clarity of goals and clarity of projects. Clarity of what you want to achieve. Then you move on to defining your MVO, your MVW, your minimum viable work, your minimum viable output for that season. Now having done those, you come in and you sit with the idea and accept the idea of paying the cost. You're a busy person and you want to add something important to your already busy schedule. I'm sure you see where I'm going with this. Something has to give. It's going to cost you something to do this. Now, depending on what season of life you're in, you can pay this cost with different materials. You can pay with your time and you can pay with your money. And here's what I mean. If you're paying with your time, it means that you have to sit with your schedule and you're going to rejig things. You're going to cut off certain activities that you're currently engaged in, sacrifice them for this goal. And you can pay with money, so maybe not cutting off the activities in their entirety, but maybe now outsourcing those other low valued activities so that you can have the time for these high value projects. You really cannot add without subtracting, especially when your cup is full. Before you can pour in, you have to take something out. Execution would either cost you more time, more money, or your comfort. So comfort will look like waking up earlier or sleeping a bit later while you do the foundational work of getting this started. And also defining the cost you're willing to pay. You may want to think about your stop doing list, creating a stop doing list. You're already too busy. Your schedule is filled up with what I hope is important work. Clearly define the habits, the hobbies, or secondary commitments that you are putting on hold just to make room for this, and know the ones to sacrifice, know the places to pull your energy from, because you might think, oh, they're not really taking so much of my time because I'm not even there so much, but there's a bit of your mental time it's taking, there's a bit of your brain time it's taking, because somewhere in your head, oh, I'm here. And every time you remember it, you feel the guilt of not contributing. But if you're able to take yourself away from that scenario, create space, create room, you can then contribute to the work that you must be doing in this season. So clearly define the habits, the hobbies, or other commitments that you have to put on hold. So you're either putting on hold or you're stopping just so that you can make room for this project. Number 4, protect your energy and schedule. If you want to do your personal projects, if you want to do your passion purpose projects, you have to be jealous over your energy and your schedule. You know the things that fill you up, you know the things that drain you, you know the things that take away energy to execute, and you know the things that, because of competency and mastery, it doesn't take as much energy from you anymore. In defining this next point, you have to look at your life again as a whole. Maybe it's important to mention at this point that being able to incorporate and reintroduce and sustain your project, your purpose projects in seasons and in periods of busyness will require a bit of life auditing. You know about time auditing, you can read up more on that. But if you know about time auditing, we are talking also about time auditing integrated with life audits. Now, you're not just looking at where you spend your time on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. You're looking at where you spend your life, the things, the full activities you engage in. As it concerns your purpose project, you'd want to schedule your high brain energy tasks for your peak energy windows. So you already know the times of the day that you are full of energy, creative energy, execution energy, you articulate, your mind is sharp. We are talking about focusing your high brain energy demanding work. It's called your high cognition tasks with your peak energy windows. And you relegate your low cognition tasks to your low energy windows. So you don't try to do great work or deep work when you are exhausted. Brian Tracy calls it eating your frog. So eat that frog. Your frog will be maybe not your cutest work, but maybe the work that gives you the most return, your high value work in the day. Do it early. Do it early. Early here now means doing it at the time when your energy is full. Also, in doing good work when your energy is full, we must mention power blocks. There's something that happens when you look at your schedule and you see 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, maybe in between meetings and in between classes and in between other work. You see little pockets of time. You might be tempted to say, oh, my minimum viable output is to write. I'll use writing again. So I'm going to do my writing in between these two activities, between 1 p.m. and 1:30. I have that 30 minutes window. I'm going to fit in 15 minutes. During my lunch break, I'll fit in another 15 minutes. It could work. But what will work better is being able to define a power block. This is your non-negotiable focus time block where you do deep work. So instead of relying on those fragmented 10 minutes here and there, you rearrange your schedule in such a way that you can pull a complete 45 minutes, for example. And in that time, you focus and get the work done. This is important because there's something called task switching. Task switching drains your energy. It drains your time. It's not as productive as we think when we think about being a multitasker. Because in multitasking and in moving from task to task in short time and frequent time, what happens is you do what is called context switching. So in the time you're switching context, you are wasting time. In switching context, you are making it more difficult to even get the job done because you are moving from that 1 p.m. task, and in the 15 minutes between the 1 p.m. task and the 1:30 p.m. task, you're trying to get back to this work. So yeah, where did I stop? Okay, I stopped here. Okay, what was I saying? And you continue. And then in another 20 minutes, you jump off. And then 2 hours later, you come back in and okay, this is where I stopped. It's not the most productive use of time. So it's better to find a way to rearrange it such that you get your focus 30 minutes. If it's 30 minutes you can afford, it is complete. It's a 30 minutes that comes in together and you do the work and you get out of it. Now you might say you're too busy and maybe rearranging your schedule is not within your control. Do what you can. You have more context into your life. If this was a one-on-one, we could look at it together. But I would say try your best to see if there's a way to create time blocks in your schedule. So if it's not those 15 minutes scattered around, it could be earlier on in the morning or later on in the evening for you, where you just do this focused work. It's super important, and it's something that's going to help you in this busy season. It's got something that's going to help you to keep on executing on these very important projects. Next one is the foundational work. So if you're just starting out and you want to reintegrate your purpose project into your life after a long while, or if this is the first time you're kicking it off, but you know your schedule is full and you're busy, I would say the minimum viable output you should define 2 points ago would be the foundational work. Now, you are not outsourcing your purpose. You cannot outsource your purpose, but you can build systems that makes it possible for other people to come in and support you with the work. The first set of things I will encourage you to do would be the grunt foundational work. Sit down with this mission, sit down with this project, and clearly define and design the organizational flow. How will things get done? You define your SOPs, what are the standard operating procedures, and you define your processes, standardize your processes. So you are breaking it down. You know what's in your head, you know what you want to achieve more than anybody that's going to come in to do the work. You make their lives easier and you make the work move better when you're able to define for them that thing that is in your head, that thing that you want them to contribute to. Make it such that whoever joins you at whatever point they join you in has the information they need to understand what they are contributing to. Let people be able to understand what they are contributing to. Another important thing to start with as part of foundational work is training the team. So you've gotten 1 or 2 people that you know you want to work with to do this work, but they don't have the purpose. It's not their project. It's not their assignments. They have other things that hold more priority in their head, and that's fine. But for you to be able to galvanize this human resource, their energy and their time that they are willing to contribute, whether paid or in whatever capacity, for you to be able to make the best use of the 6 hours a day they give to you, you have to train them to do the work the way you want it to be done. So you've defined standards. It's important that as you welcome them into this work, you don't just give them the to-do list, go do this, go do this, go do this. You might be tempted to do that, but I'm encouraging you to sit first and train them and model the behavior and the way you want the work to be done. Because you're already very busy, it's possible that when you introduce them to the work, you just give them the to-do list. This is how to do this. Go get it done. But it might not be as useful as you imagine. But do the work first. Train them. Spend time teaching them. So maybe also your MVO, your second MVO would be training. Training for the one person or for the 2 people, or I wouldn't say a large team because you are busy. It's important to pour into dedicated talents, make it a small knit team so that you don't overextend your energy trying to coach 10 people on that process. But you get your first 2 or your first 3, then they can multiply. When you introduce new people to your team and to the work, they can teach the people because you have taken the time to teach them how things are done and what you're trying to achieve with the process, with the project. This will save you the time that would have been spent in corrections. If you think that devoting maybe 10 hours in training and modeling the work is time wasted, now imagine when you spend more time correcting the work that they do, when you spend more time reviewing their outputs and making deep structural changes. Of course, you're going to review the work that they do after they get started, but it's not going to be so granular. It's not going to be so structural. You're not going to be correcting structural flaws if you have taken the time to sit with them and coach them and train them on how this project work gets done. Teams are going to be very important for you. If you are so busy and your schedule is so full of important things, you would want to bring in people into this work, 1, 2, 10, but train them, define the process, and model the behavior you want to see. Now move on to the next point, number 6. So even if you've done the work of taking out the non-essentials, you've done the work of defining your MVO and working on them, you might get weary. So create a lightweight tracking system or external check-ins to prevent yourself from quiet procrastination when the work increases. It could be your own internal tracking system, and you could just put it on someone's calendar, a mentor or a mentee. Every Friday, every third Friday of the month, check in with me to know where we are on this project. I am committed to giving you truthful and timely responses. Do that, and if external accountability works for you, what you would then say is, when you feel tired and you want to just stop, you'd rather have a conversation with your accountability partner to say, this is how I'm feeling. I don't think I'm going to go on with this anymore. I don't think it's important. And if it's somebody that has been trained to hold you in that season, they will help you. They will have to, if it's someone that has been trained to hold you in that season, they will help you remember the purpose. They will help you remember the reason and the expected output from this project. You remember when we defined it in part 1, it comes to save you in this part when you're tired and you're busy. And if you're internally motivated and you believe that you don't need external people checking in on you, create an accountability system for yourself. Create your tracker. Every third Friday too, you come in and you track the progress. So when you have defined the work that you want to do, you set the metrics. This is what is expected to be done in this month. This is what is achievable. We call it the SMART goals, right? Measurable and time bound. So in this time, this is what can be done. This is what is expected to be done. This is what I know can be done. I know I can deliver on this. And you create the tracking system. When you come in, because you're internally motivated and you can keep yourself accountable, you're looking at your tracker, you're seeing, okay, we've done this, we've done 3 out of 4. All right, we're on track to meet it. Or we are 1 out of 4. Problem. Then you can change things as required. Honor the mission. That's number 7. And that's my last point on this conversation. Honor the mission. You have a great work in front of you. The work of your purpose assignment is important to the world and important to your target recipients. It's important to the people that you've been called to serve. And I would encourage you, even though you are busy, even though we've cleared your calendar, even though you have begun to do the minimum viable output work, it's important that in all of your doings, you don't give less of yourself. I'll take that again and I would say, do not give less than you are capable of. This work is important. That you are busy doesn't mean you have to be sloppy about the outputs. Let your efforts honor the weight of your assignments. Let your efforts honor the weight of the mission. Give it your all. Give it your best. Remember that while the vision sets the direction, structured project execution is what turns your purpose into reality. So don't take for granted any of the things we've discussed in how to get the work done. If you need more hand-holding and more personalized conversation on this matter, feel free to reach out to me. I will define how your process and your project should work to achieve the desired result, to make that your purpose assignment a reality in the lives of the people that need the work that you're doing. Don't let a busy chapter kill your lifelong mission. Build a system, delegate the work, and protect your purpose. Follow for more execution strategies.